The mother of Mel Gibson's youngest child now tells Radar Online she has photos showing he injured their daughter when the baby was just 2 months old. Also today, Oksana Grigorieva says that the actor pulled a gun on her once when they were fighting. And today there's yet another audio clip from Radar Online of the Academy Award winner, and this time he simply explodes in a vile stream of profanity aimed at the mother of his youngest child, all while her tape recorder rolled.
You're the meanest person.
What?
You're very mean.
Yeah, you know what mean is now, don't you?
You've always been.
So don't call me mean. When
You're very jealous and you're very mean.
Because I like to show you what mean really is. Gold digger. All true. You proved it to me. If you're ever interested in proving otherwise, let me know. If you don't care, I know you know what you are too. Look at yourself and look what you've done. Look what you've done. Look at your son. He's a mess. You excuse for a mother.
Well, today, Radar reports no charges have been filed yet, but Gibson's legal teams will meet with the LA District Attorney's Office. The investigation is ongoing. If this indeed is Mel Gibson on tape, a portrait of an abuser is definitely emerging. With me now is former NFL player Don McPherson. He's currently a sports personality and somebody I know that you work hard to address issues of domestic violence, but you think that the real focus should be on the guys, on the aggressors, and teaching men about abuse. What do you make of when you hear tapes like that?
Well, clearly the first thing you want to know is whether or not it's really him and want to be fair to him in that regard. But the other thing that's clearly obvious is we often hear about domestic violence being about power and control. And it's really about the loss of power and control. And that's where the rage comes from. That's where the anger comes from, is because you can't control another person. You can't control what they do. And so when you lose that power, that's what he's demonstrating.
Yeah, I should mention that NBC has not independently verified these tapes. But again, it's pointed out that in one of these conversations, she says to him, Mel, and he doesn't correct her on that. Right. So moving forward on the assumption that it is Mel Gibson, we've heard everything from I should take a baseball bat to the side of your head to I deserve oral sex before you go to sleep to you're living off of my money and things like that. Is that, the words alone, abuse?
Absolutely. It's controlling, it's threatening. It's also controlling her life economically. It's controlling her life with the threat of violence, and that's the control part. And I think that's the important thing. The problem with a story like this is that it kind of glamorizes the problem, and it doesn't get to the root cause of the conversation that we need to have. That it's not just about celebrities and people like this. This kind of stuff happens every single day with people.
So how do you resolve it? How do you, when you're working with a group of men, whether they're NFL players or guys in the community, how do you teach them about avoiding situations that become abusive?
Right, and like this case, this is a Mel Gibson. He's a famous person. He's had a long life of his attitudes and behaviors being validated by his fame. You really have to drill down to get to younger boys and start to talk about that power and control, where we learn it and how we learn it. I do a thing called You Throw Like a Girl, which all talks about that narrow masculinity that we learn, that being a man is being in control and is demonstrating that power, and that women are less than. That's where the insult comes from. We hear that kind of language every single day, and that's what we have to get to with our boys. Start teaching them that being a man is not being that violent man, but being a whole man.
Generally in our society, when we address issues of emotional abuse and physical domestic violence, the focus is on the victim. Is it time for our nation to start putting more focus on the aggressors and start educating them before they become aggressors? No
question about it. It is beyond time. I stand here not because of men who have been engaged in the issue. It's because women have taken up the cause to protect themselves in domestic violence and sexual assault cases. And so it is far beyond time for us as men to stand up and be a part of the solution. Instead of just arguing all the nuances of a case and say, where is our responsibility as men to stand up against this kind of masculinity?
All right, Don, good to have you in. Thanks.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Several events happening later today we'll be watching here on MSNBC. 1:30 Eastern, President Obama will talk about clean energy at a battery plant in Holland, Michigan.